welcome back to the In Between podcast and another fun solo episode. I am going to be chatting today about the differences between masculine versus feminine energy. We had a really good episode with Melissa all on this topic. And to be honest, that episode was one where I got off of the recording and I was like, oh man, there's work to be done. There's work to be done. This area is so interesting to me because I naturally run extremely alpha, extremely masculine. And I think on one hand, that's what makes me a great business owner, but it's also my biggest fault because running masculine means that you're doing a lot and you're saying yes to a lot. You're almost just the yes man. And what I've been learning is the feminine side is that calm, is that I'm worthy just because. And I struggle with that. It's difficult. It's hard to just think if I don't do anything that I'm worthy or that I'm enough by not having accomplished something or not have. I mean, I think about days when I'm working and I'm sick and I'm like, okay, well, I still have to do work. Like, luckily I could just work from my bed, but that's not actually productive in the sense that I'm not resting. I'm not getting better. Right. And so the dynamic and how I have established it for myself is you have masculine over here, which is the do, get things done. It's a little bit more of a rushed energy. And then you have the feminine, which is slower. It is just being. It is much more rooted in stillness and, is rooted in being driven by your feelings and your body and your emotions versus like masculine being more task driven and being more like, okay, let me get all this stuff done and then I've accomplished it and then yay. And there's a place for both. There truly is. But a lot of times, and if you listen to the episode with Melissa, the masculine in women is overshadowing the feminine energy. And it's not allowing us to truly see our potential. It's holding us back and it's quieting our inner voices because we're really trying to lean into something that's not supernatural to us. Like I said, we have both, but as women with our cycles, all these different things, the feminine wants to come out more, and especially in business. Like if we leaned into the feminine energy more, I think we would be more successful in business, but it's hard. Like we live in a world that tells us to do, and if you're not doing something, you're not productive. Like if you're not on a walk, listening to an audiobook, counting your steps, drinking your protein coffee, like you're not doing enough. And I think the lesson that I learned through my research with this, as well as the conversation with Melissa, is exploring ways to just be, which is very difficult for me because to me, just being is like scrolling through my phone, which is not what you should do. And I find myself craving like going to the park and just sitting there or just sitting and reading a book and being present and that being enough. I think also if you're in business, exploring the idea of like shutting down and not letting business bleed over into certain times. If you decide you're going to go have dinner with someone, you're just present at dinner, like trying to do one thing. Women, we want to be multitaskers. We want to do all the things and we want to then be programmed into the masculine that we have to do those things. But if we're just present doing one task at a time, I think it does allow us to fall into that be energy. One of my favorite things to do is the podcast because I have to be fully present when I'm interviewing. My phone has to be off. Distractions are off. I have to be fully present with the person I'm talking about and talking to, both out of respect and then just to do the job well. It's finding more moments of that where it's like you have no opportunity but to be present and then curating those moments more in your life so that they happen. This is a work in progress. It's very hard for me because I am someone who is driven by if I get the things done, then I accomplish the goals. And it's very hard for me to think about goals that don't have a roadmap for me to like get all the things done and then do it in the shortest amount of time. So my challenge to you, as well as myself, is to find more space to just be, even if it's just 30 seconds of quiet or a meditation or a walk without your phone, like to take the distractions and just be. We've had a couple episodes, especially in season 2, that talked about intuition. And I think that the reason that women have such incredible intuitions is because we choose to be, and we choose to lay in that and sit in that. And it allows, the more we're in that space, the more that we can identify what that intuition is, identify those feelings. It's in the stillness where we really learn how to navigate those feelings, understand them better, and then to make choices or to curate our lives around that stillness. And if we're not familiar, and if we're just clouding our life with all these distractions, we are going to be focused into the masculine energy because we're not allowing ourselves the space and the time to be in order to listen to ourselves. So take 5 minutes, try to find a spot where you can be quiet. Even if it is reading a book, I think that's very different than scrolling social media. And take 30 seconds, a minute of that 5 minutes and be quiet, be still, and try to just do one thing. Definitely listen to that episode with Melissa. We're learning, we're becoming more aware, and we're leaning into our feminine energy this year. And remember, like, there's a time and a place for masculine energy. Everyone has both. It's just identifying when that time and place is. I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks so much for listening to the In Between podcast.